Okay. Good evening, everybody. Welcome back. As I said, apologies for last week's mess up. Zoom had a new version and it was not compatible with Windows. Multiple classes had the same issue. So we can continue the discussion. Today we propose to just complete that topic, which is self-revealing Atma, and probably we can take a quick introduction, or we can see a quick introduction on Nididhyasana, answer any questions, and from next week onwards we can get started with Nididhyasana. So as always, we can start with some chanting. So I would request Anu to chant from verse 28 to 31. Anu.
आत्मावभासयत्येकः बुद्ध्यादीनिन्द्रियाण्यपि दीपो घटादिवत् स्वात्मा जडैस्तैर्नावभास्यते स्वबोधे नान्यबोधे च बोधरूपतमात्मनः न दीपस्यान्यदीपेच्छा यथा स्वात्मप्रकाशने निषिध्य निखिलोपाधि नेति नेतीति वाक्यतः विद्यादैक्यं महावाक्यैः जीवात्मपरमात्मनोः आविद्यकं शरीरादि दृश्यं बुद्बुदवक्षरम् एतद्विलक्षणं विद्यात् अहं ब्रह्मेति निर्मलम्.
Thank you, Anu. That is brilliant. So the topic was self-revealing Atma. What is Atma? What is not Atma? And how do I identify my true identity with Atma? One thing. And how do I establish myself in that awareness 24/7? This is what the Atmabodha, the theme of the Atmabodha is. What is Atma? What is not Atma? How do I identify my true identity, or how do I realize my true identity as Atma? Next point is, how do I establish myself in that identity 24/7? Because otherwise, what is going to happen? I may have a glimpse of Atma, so my problems and sufferings will be solved for that particular period of time. In deep meditation, you feel good, you feel contented, but what is the problem? For you to feel contented, you need to be in deep meditation always, which is not practical. So this is the whole subject matter of this textbook, Atmabodha. And we have been discussing the topic, the self-revealing Atma. Because the Atma is not a theoretical concept. Everybody has experienced Atma. May not be experienced Atma in its full essence, but nobody has to teach you that you have an Atma. Atma is there because I am conscious of myself. I am conscious of the world around me. The consciousness is already in me. But the problem is, what exactly I am, means when you use the pronoun I, what exactly it is referring to. And we spend some time analyzing what is the difference between Jiva, Ahankara, and Atma. 3 technical terms in Vedanta. Jiva, Ahankara, and Atma. Can anybody tell me what is a Jiva, what is Ahankara, and what is Atma?
So Jiva is the human being, the entity with a body and with ego. And then coming to the question, what's ego? Ego is the illusion, the maya that makes the jiva believe that he is not the atma, and atma is the God, universal consciousness, the true essence of everything.
Right. So that's true. So Jiva is a combined entity, right? It is the body, it is the mind, it is the Ahankara, which is a particular vritti in the mind, illuminated by the consciousness. So that collective entity together is known as Jiva. And then the Ahankara is, we use the example of the operating system. It is like the primordial vritti that loads into our memory as soon as we have some memory. And this Ahankara is active during sleep, meaning dream state as well as the waking state. So now we also talked about what is Atma. Atma is the consciousness. What is our definition of consciousness? The Vedantic definition of consciousness. It is that entity by which I am aware of my mental activities. Very clear, very sharp. That entity by which I am aware of my thoughts and emotions. So that by which I am aware of my chitta vrittis are known as Atma. So you might have heard the popular definition of yoga. Yogaha chitta vritti nirodha. Controlling or almost stopping the mental activities. Why I am not able to aware of my Atma, or why I am not detecting the Atma in its true sense? The medium through which Atma can be known is mind, because Atma illumines what is happening in the mind. So if the mind is noisy, if there are too many activities in the mind, you will miss Atma. Go to Penn Station, New York. Your friend might be sitting in front of you and talking to you, but you might be just seeing him, but you cannot hear him because of the loud sound of this Amtrak train. So it is not that the friend is staying there, but I cannot listen to him because of the other noise. So when I reduce that noise, when I reduce that control through the meditation, because Patanjali Yoga Sutra is mainly focusing on meditation. So when you, through the practice of this Raja Yoga, when you control or even subsidize or quieten the mind to that extent, what happens? The third sutra comes into being. Tada drishtuhu swarupe avasthanam. Then you establish in your own true nature. Then you are in Atma. Otherwise, what is going to happen? I just identify myself with the Chittavritti. Otherwise, Patanjali says in the fourth sutra, Vritti sarupyamitaratara. Otherwise, you get identified with the vrittis. It's crystal clear. So that is exactly what we are talking here. So let's see the verse 30 and 31. In that self-revealing, the topic of self-revealing Atma, Shankaracharya tells, how do you negate the anatma and get your identity with Atma? He tells two techniques. The first thing is two types of negation you need to do. One is, first thing is that suppose there is a misperception. Suppose I am not seeing something correctly. Example, I am seeing a snake in a rope, the good old example of Vedanta. First, I have to negate my incorrect understanding that it is a snake. Then I need to get my understanding, or when I need to have a correct understanding. So negate the wrong understanding and affirm my understanding what exactly is the truth. Right now, my understanding about myself is I am a Jiva. Now I'm going to use the technical term. Aham Jivaha. That is my understanding. I am a Jiva. Jiva means something with a complex entity, with a body, mind, sense, Atma. Rather, from the Jivatvam, negate the Jivatvam and establish the Brahmatvam or the Atma awareness. So this is two steps. It cannot go anything clearer than this, because in a two-step process, Shankaracharya well defines the Vedantic teaching. Negate the Jiva, negate your wrong identity, and establish your true identity. And how do you negate it? He says in these two verses, negate two important misidentity. One is you wanted to negate your identity with upadhis, instruments. Second thing is you negate your identity with drishyam, what is seen. That is verse 30 and 31. See, the power of Vedanta, as I always say, it is not in the teaching, but in the teaching methodology. It cannot be clearer than this. At least intellectually, you can understand this. There is no doubt about it. So let's see the verse 30 now. Let me share, and you can chant. Anu, could you please? Yeah.
निषिध्य निखिलोपाधीन् नेति नेतीति वाक्यतः विद्यादैक्यं महावाक्यैः जीवात्मपरमात्मनोः.
It's so crystal clear, right? So let's understand the word meaning and then go to the deep. Nishithya, nikhila, upadhi. So you negate. Nishithya means deny or negate. Nikhila means enter. Upadhi. Upadhi means your inner instruments. What are all your inner instruments? Your body, the mind, and the senses, or the body or the mind. That's all it means. Because current understanding is that the body is me, the mind is me, the senses are me. So negate that. Nishittha nikhilopadi. Step means how? Neti netiti vakyataha. So how do you negate this? Na iti, na iti. I am not this. I am not this. By understanding that I am not the body, I am not the mind, I am not the intellect. Vidyadaikyam mahavakyena. How can you identify yourself? So the first step is negation. Neti, neti. I am not the body, I am not the mind, I am not the sense organs. So the two-step process, the first step is negate all the upadhis. Second step is affirm your identity with your true identity. That is the last portion. Vidyadaikyam mahavakya. So you contemplate upon the meaning of the mahavakya. Do the nidithyasana. Using the mahavakya, you should realize the oneness. What oneness? Jivatma paramatma aikyam. So what you are identifying is the unity between the oneness, or the unity between the Jivatma and Paramatma. Very clear, right? So two-step process again. I am, through the contemplation, through the meaning, I am trying to understand that yes, I have a body, but I am not the body. Yes, I have a mind, I am not the mind. Yes, the sense perception, ability to perceive, I have it, but I am not them. So that is, remember the rope and snake example. What is the first example? I am saying that I am not the rope. Sorry, I am not the, means that is not the snake. That is the first thing. And then means even if the negation of the snake may free me from the fear of the snake, but it could be more dangerous something. So if I am not snake, what means if that object is not snake, what exactly it is? Once you identify that it is a rope, all my fears disappears. So like that, I am negating that I am not the body, I am not the mind, I am not the intellect, I am not the ego. Then what? I am reaffirming my identity. What? Chidananda Rupa Shivoham Shivoham. Or by contemplating upon the meaning of the Mahavakya, I say that I am that Brahman, I am that absolute reality. So this is the two step. If you remember that Nirvana Ashtakam, what exactly the first verse tells? Manaha, Buddhihi, Ahankaraha, Na Chittam. I am not Manaha. I am not intellect. I am not Ahankara. I am not the memory bank. Right? And then what exactly is the affirmation there? Anybody know that
Chidananda
sloka?
Rupa Shivoham Shivoham.
Exactly. Who am I? Chidananda Rupa. Chit means consciousness. Ananda means what? Happiness,
Bliss.
contentment. I am that ever contented. Chidananda Rupa, of the form of consciousness. Chidananda Rupa Shivam. Shivam means what? Consciousness again. Shivam Mangaladayakam. That is most auspicious, which is nothing but the Atma. Chidananda Rupa Shivoham Shivoham. This is what it is. That verse exactly same meaning. So here it's so interesting, right? So the negating the identity and what happens. The theme of this verse is known as Upadhi Nishithyaha. I am negating all the Upadhi. And then what? I am affirming, right? I am saying that I am Atma. So that is what it is. So when you say I am sad, where exactly is that sadness resides?
Within me.
Within me. So instead of saying I am sad, I just need to understand that yes, a sad thought is in me. When I see that as a sad thought in me, I can deal with it. But when I see that as I am sad, that's a problem. Swami Dayananda ji brilliantly explains this. He tells in the first case, if I see something, I am sad, I am depressed, then it's a problem. Otherwise, it's a situation you need to handle. That's the difference. So this understanding of this teaching will shift your problem into situations. Will there be a sad thought tomorrow? Absolutely. A self-realized person will not get sad thought? No. A self-realized person will not get sick? Absolutely not. He will get sick. He will get sick. He will have sad thought. He will have his mental scar. But the difference is he will be able to separate himself from those scars and thoughts and the diseases of the body, and he can see that objectively. So this is an important verse. Means I really love this verse. And so how do you negate these upadhis? By using neti neti. Na neti means na iti. Na iti. Na iti means not this, not this. So you contemplate upon your body, take the Swapna Drishtanta, That's why the Swapna Drishtanta was introduced earlier. When you take the Swapna Drishtanta, you know that yesterday in my dream, I was on the top of the Himalayas. And in that dream, what happened? A big rock fall onto my feet. And actually, I broke my leg. I was in heavy pain. But when I woke up, I realized that nothing happened to my body. So in that dream, what was the problem? My wrong identity with a dream body in the dream space and dream time created that pain. The moment you become aware of the dream, when you become, when that big dream become a lucid dream, even though your leg is broken, of course you may try to fix that, but you are not that much scared. It's a situation. Otherwise it becomes a problem. Like that, right now I identify with, in the dream, what was the problem? In the dream, what was my identity? The dream Jiva. What is the scope of the dream Jiva? The dream body, the dream mind, and the Atma. Am I right?
Yes.
So what was the problem? When I broke my leg in the dream, why it became a huge problem for me? Because I thought that my identity is the dream Jiva.
Mm-hmm.
Since my identity is the dream Jiva, that issue become a huge issue in front of me. When I woke up, I realized my mistake. What was the mistake? In fact, it was I had a dream body. I cannot negate that. If you say that you don't have a body, that is completely illogical and wrong. See, for that space, for that time, that body is essential to transact in the world, in that world. Without the dream body and the dream mind, I will not be able to transact with the dream world. So, but the problem is what? A upadhi, an equipment. The dream body and the dream mind was an upadhi given to me to interact with the dream space and dream time. Am I making sense?
Mm-hmm.
Logically?
Mm-hmm.
So the dream body and the dream mind were the upadhis or the means given to me for interacting or transacting with the dream world. But we need to understand that I am not that upadhi. I have that upadhi as a means to interact with the dream space and the dream time. When I came out of that dream, what happened? That upadhi, I disassociated myself with that. So like that, this body and this mind is an upadhi given to me for what? For transacting with this world, in this space, this time. That means these upadhis are not me. This body is not me. I have a body. I am given a body to interact with this world, interact with at this particular point of time. These equipments are important to me. I need to take care of that. As long as I live in this body, means world, I need to take care of that. But understand that my identity is not this. My identity is Atma. So when the dream becomes a lucid dream, my fear disappears. I'm able to interact. I'm able to play the game very well. I'll be able to exhibit my full capacity when I am not worried about the past and future. That's exactly what is going to happen. Think about this. This is intellectually very important. Think through this again and again and again. You will understand it. And of course, it may take some time for you to realize it, but definitely you will understand it.
So Rajesh, I had a question. If we are to go about our lives, with the realization or with the belief that we are not the body is just an equipment, and our identification changes from the body to the Atma, isn't there a risk that we will not take anything seriously and we'll become very irresponsible?
No, absolutely not. It will be the other way. You will use, for example, if you buy a car, let's say that you buy a brand new car. What is the use of that car? It is an extended equipment given to, it is not an inner equipment, but it's a mandatory equipment.
Mhm.
Go to any mall, you see one car always parked separately. You will see that that's a brand new car. You will be more attached, means you will be attached to the body. I'm not saying that you should get attached, but you will take care of it because it is such a precious equipment. Some people take care of their phone more than their body. I've seen that. So you are not saying that it is less important. You are saying that it is not me, but your existence in this world dependent upon that equipment. I gave you another example. If the telephone is not there, right? So what is your means of interacting with people outside? If you don't have this equipment, you are helpless. You cannot interact with, I cannot interact with you without this internet and thing. So I will take care of this equipment
Very much.
as much as possible. So you have to love your body. You have to love your mind because these are gifts from you, God. So a true Vedantin will see these are gifts from the God.
Mhm.
Of course, the true Vedantin will not differentiate himself between him and God. That's a different matter. But what I'm saying is that these are essential equipments. See, all these yogis like Patanjali or all those people, they develop techniques to take care of your body.
Yeah.
So there is a famous saying. You all means in our concept, in our model of a temple. Of course, the sanctum sanctorium is extremely important, and the vigraha is the most important thing. But if you really look at the temple, how much care we have given in the architecture of the temple, right?
Yes.
Go to this every part of India, like Orissa or Bengal, and Kerala or Tamil Nadu or any part of the India, you will see a unique architecture of the temple. And you will see hundreds of thousands of small work. It's hard to build, how to create it. Look at Srirangam, look at all those Tanjavur, the Brigadishwara temple, and hundreds of thousands of like brilliant architecture. The idea of the temple is what? Human body. If the whole temple is mimicking the human body, you know that, right? The human body is the temple, and the Atma is what? The Vigraha.
Vigraha.
So in South India, I don't know, it's there in North India. I'm not saying that it is not there, but I have seen in South India. When you do this Deeparadhana or Arati, what do they do? Have you seen any light in the sanctum sanctorium at that point of time?
No.
Those who are coming from South? No, right?
No.
So they take a thali and put a camphor there. And what exactly the priest is doing? Just
lighting up the
revealing
face.
each part of the vigraha.
Yes.
It's a symbolic representation. What? Through the teaching of the scriptures, you're revealing that Atma to yourself. That's what it means. If you go to the Tantra Shastra, this is exactly what is written there. Problem is what? Neither the priest nor the participants know that.
No.
That's a different matter.
Yeah.
But this is the idea.
So Rajesh,
Yeah.
you said we should identify with Atma, not body or the mind. But earlier you said that Atma is illuminated by mind. So you need the mind to see the Atma.
Yep. You need the mind to know the Atma initially, because it is through the mind you are identifying the Atma, because the presence of the Atma is detected through the mental activities. So that is why the self-realization is meant only for the human being, because you need a mind, because it's only through the mind, the medium of the mind, the Atma is seen.
So
that is,
mind is an object. So you really
It-
need an object to identify Atma, which is consciousness.
it is initial identification. You may need a, how do you see yourself right now? Suppose you wanted to see your face, what do?
Eyes, yeah.
You look
Mirror.
in the mirror.
Mirror, exactly. That is the function here of the mind. So you look at the mind to see yourself as a reflection. That's it. That's exactly it is. So the mind is going to help me to connect with the Atma initially. So once you see yourself, you know who you are. That's it. So initially, it is the mind. This Vedantic means, the other day I said, right? If you want to see something, you have to use the appropriate means to know yourself, or any knowledge to that matter. Suppose I wanted to see an elephant outside, I need to employ the appropriate means of knowledge, which is the eyes. So like that, if I want to see myself, I need to look at what? The mirror of the scriptures reflected in my mind. So scripture is the means of knowledge, but the scripture requires a prerequisite. Just like if I want to see that elephant, I need to have sufficient light around me. Like that, I need a pure and a stable mind. Since that mind is required, that is why we said the condition of the mind is extremely important to identify the Atma properly. If the mind is pure and stable, imagine that there is a lake. The water of that lake is the mind. If that, and you're seeing through that water, you want to see a fish in the water. If the water is turbulent, you won't see the fish, even though the fish is not there. If the water is muddy, you won't see that. So initially, for identifying your true self, I mean, since you are conditioned by the body and the mind, it is the mind. And mind is the means for knowing everything else. You may see that I see an elephant. Where exactly I see the elephant?
In the vritti.
In the vritti. Like that, the Atma is initially seen or identified in the mind. When all the other vrittis are negated, you can see that. So mind is very important. That is why the whole meditation technique developed. The whole meditation technique, Upasana Yoga, came up because of that.
Okay.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Yeah, Rajesh, I think, like, I don't know if this is a conundrum, but, I was thinking that what is directing the mind towards the Atma? Isn't it our intellect or our ego? That is.
Yes. What is the mind? What is that forcing my mind to not to see Atma? Absolutely the other vrittis.
What about if I want to see the Atma? Isn't it also the intellect and the ego which will have to will?
Absolutely. So, initially, that is why you need to have these divine qualities in your mind, so that you can control your mind and you can redirect the mind to see the Atma. Absolutely. It is the other vrittis that are going to help you. But the first thing is that if there are too many vrittis, but what is the nature of this mind? Just close your eyes and I don't have to prove this point. You all can reveal this by yourself. Close your eyes and just observe your mind. Do you know how many, in what are all the direction, the state transition of the mind itself is a miracle.
Yeah.
Those who tried meditation, you know that.
Yeah.
What is the common complaint you all say?
It's running around everywhere.
Yeah. So that's the nature. So because when the mind, the vrittis are running around, think that these are ripples of your wave, in a water body, right? In a lake. If there are too many ripples, will you be able to see what is inside? Not at all. So you have to quieten. And how do you quieten that? It is through other vrittis. Yeah. You're right. Some intellectual vrittis, which is going to initially help you to quieten it. Even the meditation, right? You are doing with a will, and that will is another vritti. So that vritti is going to monitor which will be above your Ahankara? This is a brilliant question, Arnabji, and you will get the answer in the Patanjali Yoga Sutra.
I guess, Rajeshji, the question I was trying to ask was, I need to use my vritti, my ego and my intellect,
Mhm.
and using my mind as an equipment
Mhm.
to realize that I'm the Atma.
Mhm.
But my ego
Mhm.
and my intellect itself is telling me that I'm not the Atma.
That is Viparita Bhavana, right? So why your ego, and means, let's not use the word ego, let's use Ahankara, because ego
Ahankara.
has a negative connotation.
Exactly.
Some people say edge God out.
Right.
It's really not that much. It is, means we'll talk about what is ego, etc. Yeah, right now something is there called Viparita Bhavana, the habitual understanding. That is what is preventing me in identifying my true nature with Atma. So initially it is intellectual. You have to, for example, that same example we were talking earlier, the crystal, and you have a blue cloth in front of the crystal.
Mhm.
What is your experience?
That the crystal is blue colored.
Yeah, crystal is blue color. And even though you know that intellectually it is blue color, when you see initially, you may think that it's a blue crystal.
Yeah.
So how do you remove that?
By removing the...
It's a repeated education of the mind. So that exactly the point you are talking, because the natural vritti come to my mind tells me that it is blue.
Yeah.
The natural vritti comes to my mind tells me that the sun is going down the ocean. So that is where you are coming to the Nididhyasana point. That is exactly what is Nididhyasana. So Nididhyasana means what is your intellectual conviction is reaffirmed in such a way that the natural thought comes to you is going to tell you that you are Atma, not the body or the mind. But for you to practice that Nididhyasana, your mind has to reach certain level of maturity. And what is that certain level of maturity? It has to be pure and it has to be stable, because purity means what? It is free from these binding vasanas. Otherwise, exactly what is going to happen is what you said. The automatic thoughts generating from your mind is going to drag you here, there, everywhere. Otherwise, means the ability to control your mind is going to quieten the mind. So with these two skills as the prerequisites, the purity and the stability, you do the Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasana, that habitual thinking will be negated. I know that this is theoretical right now, but where you want to start? Karma Yoga. So Karma Yoga is the place you need to start right now. And intellectually, just understand this is the sequence of activities. So, but you are these are good questions, and you will see this in detail in Patanjali Yoga Sutra. The type of vrittis, how it is influencing, how it is going to give this Viparita Bhavana, how it is going to give you wrong identity, all that is in detail we are going to see in Patanjali Yoga Sutra. The Patanjali Yoga Sutra is a book which is going to go in depth of this topic. But here we are seeing it on a not a high level, but at least to the sufficient level of detail so that you can understand.
Right.
Excellent. So now in this verse, Shankaracharya refers to Mahavakya. What are all the Mahavakyas? Mahavakya is a statement from the Shruti or the Upanishad which reaffirms my identity with the Paramatman. There are 4 Mahavatmya. Means anybody remembering that? 4 Mahavakyas.
Tattvamasi.
Tattvamasi.
Aham Brahmasmi.
Aham Brahmasmi.
Jnanam Brahma.
Prajnanam Brahma. I am Atma Brahma. These are from 4 Vedas. Okay. So with that, let's go to next verse. Let me share. Which is the... Okay. Anu, could you please?
Avidyakam shariradi drishyam budbudavaksharam etadvilakshanam vidyat aham brahmeti nirmalam.
So the first technique was, I am not upadhi. Upadhi nishityaha. And in this verse, Shankaracharya tells, drishyam nishityaha. So he tells, avidyakam sharirani drishyam budbudavat. Budbud in Sanskrit means bubbles. That is the term. It sounds like bubble, right? Budbud. So avidyakam sharirani, that is what is. So this drishyam, there are two things. Let me just give you the literal meaning and let's go to the deep meaning. So avidyakam sharirani, so this body, mind and every drishyam, all these drishyam are avidyakam. They are born of avidya. I'm going to talk about what is avidya. Avidya means matter. So then they etat vilakshanam vidyat. So you need to understand that you are completely independent of them because you are not the drishyam. You are the drik. So aham brahmeti nirmalam. I am the pure Atma. You need to know that. You means, in other words, you are negate your identity with drishyam and establish your identity with drik. That is essentially this verse means. So let's go in deep. Let's try to understand what is drishyam and what is drik. What is seen and what is here. We talked about this multiple times, so it will be very easy. Can anybody tell me what is drishyam and what is drik?
Seen and seer, the subject object.
Exactly. The subject and the object. That is the best definition, Gina. So objects of my experience are what? Drishyam. Who is experiencing it? That is drik. So here Shankaracharya tells one simple truth. Negate what? Drishyam. Means not reject the drishyam, but say that you are not the drishyam. You are the drik. So if you have the identity with Jiva, if your identity is with Jiva, what would be your thinking? What is drishyam and what is drik?
I would be thinking that I am the drishyam, I am the seen. If I'm
No.
identifying with the
Now, if you are a Jiva, you would see, I am the seer, the flower is the seen.
Mhm.
If you identify with your mind, you will say that, okay, the image means the flower is definitely seen, no doubt about it. But even the image captured by my eyes is also seen. Because mind will tell, I am seeing it because it is a vritti in me. Now, if you go one step further, first level is what? The flower is the seen, I is the seer. Second level is what? The image in the eye is the seen. What exactly is seeing that? Mind.
Consciousness.
Mind. Mind is seeing that, right? It's a chitta vritti.
Yeah.
Think about logically, right? The image in your eyes will be combined and it will be sent to your brain and it will be represented as an activity. A complex transformation algorithm is happening there, right? The optical image is converted into electrical image and that will be sent to the brain. It will be integrated and that will be displayed in your mind. So the mind can tell that I am the seer. Sorry, I am the seer.
Yeah,
And what is the scene? The image captured by the eyes is the scene. Now, if you go one step further, what is being captured in the mind as a chitta vritti? Somebody else is seeing that. Consciousness. So the consciousness reveals the chitta vritti. The consciousness reveals what is captured in the mind. So the scene here is what?
The mind.
Chitta vritti. not the mind. The
the chitta.
vrittis that happened in the mind. And what is the seer?
Consciousness.
Consciousness. So who is the ultimate seer?
Consciousness.
Consciousness. So that's exactly what the analysis is. So if you go to that level, there is only one seer, consciousness. Every other scene, every other thing you hear, every other thing you touch, every other thing you smell will be eventually represented as chittavrittis. And that chittavrittis are revealed to you by whom?
The
Consciousness. So a simple logic. If you see something, you are not that something, because otherwise you won't see that. So the real subject here is consciousness. So this is another teaching methodology employed by the Vedanta. This powerful teaching methodology is known as Drisya Viveka.
Drisya Viveka.
Yeah. The other one we saw is Shariratraya. Sorry, yeah, this means the Shariratraya. It is, you are not the physical body, you are not the subtle body, you are not the causal body, you are the consciousness. Shariratraya. Another teaching methodology. So here there is a different teaching methodology. Who is the seer? Who is the seen? With that detailed analysis, I am told that you are not the seen, you are the seer. So what you are doing is, there is a word used, avidyakam sharirani drishyam. All the drishyam is born out of avidya. This is a little bit technical. So when we studied the three bodies, if you remember, the three bodies are what? One is what? Physical body. Second body is what? Subtle body. The third body is called
Causal body.
causal body. So the physical body is made up of what? Remember, we talked about longevity, the constituent, what exactly it is made up of. Remember, we had a different set of parameters we analyzed. So what exactly is the constituent by which the physical body is made up of?
Panchabhuta.
Panchabhuta, physical matter. And what is the constituent by which the subtle body is made up of? Subtle matter. Just like physical matter is there, subtle matter is there. Remember, we had long discussion. What is the difference between physical matter and subtle matter? I gave you the most modern example of the hardware and the hard disk and the software stored in there.
Yeah.
Remember, I said like the one lifetime of suppose you take the video of one person's entire lifetime and store that in a hard disk and weigh the hard disk, what would be the weight difference?
Nothing.
Zero, right? There is no difference in the weight. So because it is subtle matter, that is the difference between physical matter and subtle matter. There is no better example in the modern world. It's not there in the scripture because at that time these things were not there. Now, when you go to the causal body, if you remember, what did we say? What exactly the causal body is made up of? We said avidya. Causal matter is called avidya. Avidya means, see, the manifestation of which is not real. Real means it is, when you say real, don't think that it won't exist. It is not absolute. That's all it means. So there is a difference between matter and consciousness. The difference is matter do not have an independent existence. Real means abadhidam, that which not dependent upon anything else for its existence. Remember, the gold and ornament do not have an independent existence outside of the gold. So we can say that the golden ornament is dependent upon gold. We can say that the wave is dependent upon water. We can say that the pot is dependent upon clay. So that's exactly what it is. So anything born out of matter, dependent upon something other than matter for its existence. That is what is consciousness. Because the nature of the consciousness or the reality is three things. One is called Sat, the second is called Chit. And what is that Sat refers to? existence, the absolute existence. If I take a pen, what gives existence? You may say that it is matter or plastic or whatever it is. But if you go down, 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 plastic is dependent upon something else. Atom is dependent upon something else. It is dependent upon energy. If you go down, you reach that fundamental building block, which is nothing but the absolute reality. So Shankaracharya tells that anything born out of this matter is called avidya because it doesn't have an independent existence, and anything born out of that matter is drishyam. There is only one drik, or the seer, which is the consciousness. That was just a little bit technical, but I just wanted to make sure that we have the clarity. So that is what it is. So the definition in the scripture is yat yat drishyam tat sarvarapi maya janyam. So that whatever is the drishyam, that is maya. Maya means it is dependent upon something else. It is a projection, or it is a like avaranam or a projection. We don't have to go to maya, etc. right now. It tells anything born out of vidya is maya, and all these material world is maya. Mind you, like a lot of people misinterpret that as illusionary. It is not illusionary. It is relatively real. Say, suppose somebody say that the gold ornament is illusion, whereas the gold is real. That is not correct. The golden ornament has a relative reality, a temporary existence. So the world of matter has relative existence. And what is that relative duration? It could be billions of years, but definitely there is an end to that. That's all it means. So avidyakam sharirani drishyam buddhuta varshasam. And etat vilakshanam vidya aham brahmeti nirmalam. So now the first negation happened. You are not drishyam. And then who are you? You are the drik. And what exactly is the nature of that drik? You are Brahman and you are nirmalam. You are not tainted. So a few points established in this verse is, one is, who am I? Because etat vilakshanam. Vilakshanam means this is the lakshanam. What is that? I am not maya janyam. Right? Means I am not maya janyam. Meaning I am not born out of maya. Then who am I? I am the maya athishtana. I am the actual athishtana, that by which means the maya is dependent upon. So that is point number one. Point number two, I am not avidya janyam. Then who am I? I am avidya athishtana. I'm using Upanishadic statements right now. Okay, just I think you all are in that level right now. We can go to that level. I am not maya, but I am not maya janyam. I am not born out of maya. I am maya athishtana. I am not avidya janyam. I am avidya athishtana. I am not drishyam. Then who am I? I am
Drik.
drik. Exactly. I am not sharira. Then who am I? I am Atma. So that's what this verse means. See, it's two simple looking verses. It gives two powerful teaching methodology of Vedanta.
Raji, what does adhishtanam mean?
Adhishtanam means that in which the sustaining factor or the reality behind. The adhishtana of golden ornament is what? Gold.
Gold.
The adhishtana of clay pot is clay. The adhishtana of ocean is what? Water.
Water.
So that's what it is. So these statements, just remember this, because I am not maya janyam. I am maya adhishtana. We are going to Upanishads. When we go to Upanishad, this is going to be very helpful. This is how the Upanishad talks. I am not maya. Aham means na maya janyam. I am not maya janyam. I am maya athishtanaha. Aham maya athishtanaha. This is what you see in the commentary of Upanishads. So without studying this Atmabodha, if you read this Upanishad, it will be completely goes above our head. So I am not maya janyam. I am Maya Athishtanaha. I am not Avidyajanyam. I am Avidya Athishtanaha. Avidya, the causal matter, subtle matter, all the matter born out of me. I am not Drishyam. I am Drik. I am not Sharira. I am not Jiva. I am not Ahankara. Who am I?
Atma.
I am Atma. So this idea needs to be reinforced in our thinking, in our thought, and we need to negate our what you call the habitual thinking, and that is what is Nididhyasana, and we are going to see that from next week. So I just wanted to give a definition of this Nididhyasana. So the beautiful definition of this Nididhyasana is to see the truth that is already known to you intellectually. To see the truth clearly, which is known to you intellectually, what you do? Again and again, you contemplate upon clearly so that your doubts are removed, your thoughts are established in that. This is Nididhyasana. We will see that in detail. So you're assimilating that knowledge in such a way that your automatic thoughts, for example, if you see this crystal every day, let's say that every day you do contemplate upon the crystal, the cloth, the superimposition, and you try to understand that this is not a blue crystal. The blueness is attributed only to the crystal. If you do that, say 41 days, means we say that if you do a mandala 41 days meditation, that habit will be formed. Some people say 30 days, some people say 41 days. It doesn't matter. Sufficient period of time. So after that, when you get into a hall, if you see a crystal with blue color, what would be your natural thinking? It's a white crystal. Unless otherwise, you see one day, next time you say, what would be the automatic thought come to you?
Blue crystal.
Exactly. So to illustrate this story, this lion story is there. I posted that video. Swamiji did a beautiful video. You can watch that. I put that in our group. This story told by Swami Tadatmananda is one of the most favorite story of Swami Vivekananda. Last week we discussed that story, the lion cub story. The lion who mistake his identity as a sheep. And Swami Vivekananda finally calls all of us. It was a big call. Like he tells, come up, O lions, and shake off the delusion that you are sheep. This is his World's Parliament of Religion address. And you could see in almost every lecture he touches this, because this story was so favorite to him. And I have no doubt about it. This is such a beautiful story. So this is one of the most beautiful story which illustrates this power of this Nididhyasana. So now we will get into Nididhyasana and a few other topic we can cover Atmabodha. So next, like 10 session, we can complete this book. But this book is such a, means, as I said, like there is no book that gives you this clarity. After Bhagavad Gita, this is one of my favorite book. Okay, 9:30. Any questions?
Rajesh, earlier we talked about Mahavakyas. Is
Yeah.
Soham a Mahavakya?
It is Upanishad. Yes, means Mahavakya. The 4 traditional Mahavakyas are picked up from each Veda. And there are other Mahavakyas also. For example, in Ishavasya Upanishad is also there is a Mahavakya. Soham is considered as a mantra. So what exactly Soham means? Saha Aham. That's what it is. I am that. So that can be considered as a Mahavakya. That mantra is Mahavakya. It's a powerful mantra for meditation. Soham. Om is most powerful mantra, which we saw the other day. Like that, Soham is another Mahavakya. So the meditation you did today morning with Om is and upasana, which is a pratika upasana. Remember, we talked about a couple of days back only about this Om meditation. So there are two ways the Om meditation can use. One as a pratika. Second one is it can be used as a nididhyasana. So the initial meditation, listening to mantra and the vibration, it is used as a pratika. But the Om itself can be used as a nididhyasana. And there is one Upanishad, which the entire theme of that Upanishad is Om Upasana. Not Upasana, Om Nididhyasana. Do you know which Upanishad it is? Mandukya. Mandukya Upanishad.
Even this line, Aham Brahmedi Nirmalam, seems like a Mahavakya.
It is.
Right?
But it is not coming from an Upanishad. Typically, the Mahavakyas are coming from the actual Upanishad. This is a secondary book written by another master based on the teaching of the Upanishad. So this is not given the stature of a Shruti. So Shruti means that is revealed to some Rishi. This is a Smriti, which is written by a master based upon the teaching of a Shruti. So that is, it's a technicality. That's all.
Rajuji, I was a little confused by the verse where you say that I am the sustainer of Maya, the Adhisthana of Maya. So how can I be the Adhisthana of Maya when I'm deluded by Maya?
Who am I? Means who is deluded by Maya? See, when I say I am the Adhisthana of Maya, the real me. Who is the real me?
Atma.
Consciousness. And when I say I am deluded by Maya, what is that I pointing to?
The Jiva.
Jiva. So two different entities.
Yeah.
So that's the answer. So Jiva, when I identify myself with Jiva, I'm conditioned by Maya. When I'm identifying myself with consciousness, I'm outside of Maya.
Will take a lot of practice to get there, Rajuji.
Of course. See, even to get a promotion and become a vice president, you need to put a lot of effort. So consider this the ultimate goal of human life. Don't you need to put effort?
Ultimate effort, yeah.
Ultimate effort. Every gain is proportional to the effort you put in, right? If you want to make $10 versus $200, the effort will be different. Righteous way, of course.
Yeah.
Anything else? Any other comments, questions? But now you like this book, right? You're into that slot, right? You follow this. Earlier it means it's a far outside theory. Now at least you can see that it's a logically moving forward. And when you get a little bit closer, you will get a hope, because right now you think that it is good, but at least you will be hopeful that, yeah, this is going to save me. That is the stages. Excellent. So we will stop here. Anu, could you chant the invocation Purnamada Purnamidam if it is on top of your head?
Sure. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om. Shri Guru Pyo Namaha. Harihi Om.
Thank you. We will see on Sunday with Bhagavad Gita Karma Yoga.